Have you ever attempted to access a class itself within its own class, but only to witness the class suffering from a severe case of identity crisis? Let's take a look at forward reference. So let's make a class and we'll call it Riot Burgers, made with 100% all-American beef and grilled to perfection. Okay, not those kind of burgers, but we do need to initialize some variables. Let's define our classes in it, and we're going to need to store the store number, yeah, and we also need to store an inventory so we can have a manageable inventory so that when people pull up to the window, we don't have to tell them that our machine is down. We also need a way to update our inventory. So let's create that and just set it to 23. We also need a way to check our inventory. So let's create that too. We could just print out riot number funds. What could go wrong? Actually, now that I think about it, many things could go wrong. So just to be safe, we'll go ahead and pop in the store number and the inventory. Now all that's left is just to open up the burger joint, topped with the freshest produce and our secret lip-smacking riot sauce. It's like a party for your taste buds. Again, not that kind of burger, but we do need to create a main for our script. So let's create a burger joint and call it 234. Then we'll just update the inventory and check the inventory. And if we run it, Riot Burger 234 is now up and operational with 23 buns. Our Riot Burger business is booming so well, I think we should open up a second one. Now, if we run our second one, seems like somebody forgot to stock their inventory. Okay. When in doubt, take from the better creator. I mean Riot Burger. So let's create a transfer inventory method. I almost said function for a second. And if you didn't know, there is a difference. But let's make sure to define the other store as a Riot Burger. But wait, there's an issue. Trying to call other store, we actually don't get any of the other store's information. It's like IC failed us again. And the reason is because we have an unresolved reference. Okay, so what happens when you're defining a class in Python? Well, Python doesn't consider a class to be fully defined until it gets to the very end of the class definition. Which means when you try to use a class name as a type hint in this case, Python doesn't know who you're talking about. So how do we get around this? Well, that's what forward reference is for. A forward reference is like a promise to Python. We're saying, hey, Python, I know you don't recognize this name yet, but trust me, you will know it later. I hope you will know it later. Please work. It's a very simple fix. You just put quotes around your class name and boom, you're done. And now you can see all of the information from the other store. Because we are a very generous business, we want to make sure that we give our colleagues at least one bun. So let's not forget to remove one from our own inventory. And at the bottom again, we'll go ahead and call this transfer inventory, making sure to pass to the other store, Riot Burger 2. Now, if we check the inventory again, then run it, it looks like both stores are up and ready to go. Riot Burger is going to be a hit. So you might be thinking, when would you ever use this? Well, the most common situation is just when a class refers to itself in its own definition. Now, for the downsides of forward reference, it's just that it's harder to read. And updating your code, refactoring, can be a little bit more tedious. So if you don't know about type hints, and no, I don't mean that there are 10 types of people in this world, those who know about binary and those who don't. No, I mean type hints for programming. They're like sticky notes that you put on variables, function arguments, and return values. They tell you and anyone else reading your code that what type of data should be there. Now, it's important to note that these are completely optional. They don't affect how your code runs. They're just there to make your code clearer. So if you saw something that I did wrong or that you could do better, leave it down in the comment section below because I am no expert and we're all learning together.